Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving straight into an incredibly dynamic piece of intellectual property, created and written by Claudia D. Reed, titled Lemon Man and Sunrise Bites. What we have here is a literal masterclass in blending dark romance with a high-stakes, gripping crime thriller. We aren't just going to look at this source material as a story, but structurally as a pitch for a major franchise. Let's break down exactly how this narrative is constructed to completely captivate audiences and attract industry executives alike.
Here's our agenda for today's Explainer. First, a marketable masterpiece. Second, two worlds collide. Third, the slow burn romance. Fourth, a web of corruption. And finally, the franchise potential.
Section 1. A marketable masterpiece.
Now, what's genuinely fascinating about this IP is the sheer industry buzz it generated right out of the gate. Just listen to this feedback from a manager who evaluated the raw manuscript. This is a whole damn franchise. Colleen Hoover meets Power Book 2. That is some massive validation, right? It's being praised for taking a prestige TV emotional arc and wrapping it completely in street-level danger. Honestly, it's pretty rare to find a pitch that nails both romantic suspense and crime thriller genres this seamlessly.
So why is it getting this kind of reaction? Well, it's packed with highly sought-after elements. We get dual point-of-view intimacy, which means we're directly inside the heads of both our leads. It's a redemption romance, but built on solid thriller bones. We've got a wildly compelling villainous political family, the Mailers, and get this, there's even a wild card perspective from a fiercely protective, somewhat comedic dog named Delilah. Structurally, it's already mapped out with cinematic 9-episode pacing. This isn't just a story, it's a pre-packaged franchise ready for publishing and streaming.
Section 2. Two worlds collide. To understand the core tension here, we've got to look at our leads. In one corner, we have Cameron DeMarco, or Cam. He's 38, a hardened ex-con who just walked out of a 10-year stint at Clinton Correctional. He's deeply haunted by violence, betrayal, and exploitation by the city's political elite. In the other corner, we have 32-year-old Lila Mahan. She's a warm, deeply spiritual bakery owner who is literally just looking for peace. This contrast is the absolute beating heart of the narrative. You're taking a broken, dangerous guy and dropping him right into the peaceful, faith-driven sanctuary of a woman who refuses to judge him.
And where do these two worlds collide? A cozy breakfast shop called Sunrise Bites. They actually bill it as a place where mercy meets mourning. But structurally, this setting is a total masterstroke. See, Cam's parole forces him to work there as a dishwasher. But the kicker? The shop sits directly across the street from the exact courthouse and legal system that wrongfully buried him for a decade. It's an absolute crucible. Every single day, his past and his future are forced to intersect.
This setup leads to a massive shift in their dynamic. Joanne Mailer, the corrupt mayor's wife who abused Cam in the past, actually walks into the shop to taunt them. Up until now, Cam has been totally silent and hostile, but here, he steps up, looks at Lila, and delivers this cinematic line. "I ain't here for welcomes, but I am here for you." It perfectly captures his transformation. The second Lila is threatened, he shifts from a defensive weapon into a fiercely loyal protector.
Section 3. The slow burn romance.
Now, any romance fan will tell you it's all about the pacing, and the creator maps this escalation out flawlessly. Day 1 is pure, hostile tension when Cam gets paroled. But by week 1, we hit a turning point, the cut that bled truth. Cam slices his arm in the kitchen, Lila tends to him, and boom, we have our first real moment of vulnerability mixing with heat. Fast forward to week 2, and Lila offers Cam her upstairs guest room to get him off his brother's couch. Naturally, this proximity leads straight to temptation on the stairs, an electric, undeniable late-night encounter right outside their bedroom doors. It is structured perfectly to keep you hooked.
But for that bond to truly stick, the narrative demands a toll. The underlying theme here? Redemption costs blood, and healing costs truth. Cam has to lay it all on the line. He confesses the darkest parts of his history, his ties to a drug kingpin named Big Tiga, how he was exploited by the mayor's wife, and the murder he was framed for. He tells her everything, fully expecting her to run for the hills. Instead, Lila chooses compassion. It proves this romance is just as much about profound emotional healing as it is about physical chemistry.
Section 4. A web of corruption.
Of course, the past never really stays buried, does it? That brings us to the explosive crime thriller elements of The Explainer.
Cam isn't just fighting his inner demons. He is up against a lethal hierarchy of antagonists. You've got Joanne Mailer, driven by sheer obsession and control. Then there's her daughter, Tallulah, who is fueled by chaotic jealousy. And sitting right at the very top, District Attorney Todd Bryant. His motivation is literally lethal. He's covering up a $2 million theft from a drug bust a decade ago. Cam was framed by this corrupt political machine just to hide their massive money laundering operation.
Mirroring the creator's 9-episode beat sheet, the stakes escalate dramatically. First, a massive enforcer named Bledsoe shows up looking for that missing money. Next, the corrupt Mailer family orchestrates a massive arson attack, bombing the 3rd floor of Sunrise Bites. And then, a sniper literally targets Cam and Lila at dawn. This insane escalation forces our protagonist into a corner, which pushes Cam to finally uncover a hidden flash drive in an old stash house, the exact evidence he needs to prove who actually stole the money.
So, how does Lila react to her beloved shop being burned and literally dodging sniper fire? Cam asks if she's ready for war, and she drops this incredible line. "I'm not your weakness, Cam. I'm your weapon." She doesn't back down when the bullets fly. Instead, she transforms from a peaceful baker into a fierce, absolute fighter, standing shoulder to shoulder with Cam to burn this corrupt system to the ground. And that leads us right to the climax. Cam and Lila don't just shoot their way out, they outsmart the system. The public release of that flash drive exposes the DA's shell company, completely clearing Cam's name and dismantling the entire corrupt political empire. It is immensely satisfying. Cam essentially takes the exact legal and public system that destroyed his life and uses it to publicly ruin the Mailers and the district attorney.
Section 5. The franchise potential.
So what does this all mean for the industry? Why should executives care? The answer comes down to the number 9. The creator, Claudia D. Reed, has already mapped out a flawless 9-episode Season 1 beat sheet. We're talking from Episode 1, A Man on Scene, all the way to the finale, Blood on the Morning Call. This is a huge deal because it completely eliminates the structural guesswork for development execs. The narrative engine for every single episode is already locked and loading.
The strategic path forward here is highly lucrative. The recommended next steps are clear. Expand the existing chapters into a full 20 to 25 chapter ebook. Polish the highly cinematic TV pilot sample script. Finalize the series Bible for network pitching. And, of course, prep for the inevitable Season 2 expansion. This IP has the rare potential to simultaneously ignite both the self-publishing ebook space and the prestige television market.
Which leaves us with one final provocative question. After looking at the sheer structural integrity, the intense romance, and the gripping thriller elements we've just unpacked, where will you help ignite this franchise first? Are we talking a binge-worthy streaming series, a best-selling ebook, or both? This IP really is a masterclass in marketability, and it definitely leaves us wondering just how quickly we'll see Cam and Lila's story come to life on our screens. Thanks for exploring this breakdown with me on The Explainer.